I see ya. Hi. All right.
Hello.
Hello, hello. Welcome.
Hello. How are
Nice.
you?
Good. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you too.
Wonderful.
How's your day going? Is it good?
Yeah. Happy Valentine's Day.
Ah, yeah,
Ah.
one of those.
Oh, yes. Okay. That's awesome. Well, we will get started. Thank you so much, everybody. Welcome, students, teachers, friends. Thank you for being here. So today, we're honored to welcome superb actor, talented musician, passionate activist. He has won the CCMA Humanitarian Award, the Companion of the Order of Canada, the Queen's Jubilee Medals, Order of Canada Advisory Committee member. He's a Juno Humanitarian Award winner, a Gemini Humanitarian Award winner, the Governor General Performing Arts Award for Lifetime Artistic Achievement, and many, many, many more. He has generated over approximately $230 million for food banks and disaster relief campaigns. So we are so excited to welcome Mr. Tom Jackson. Welcome, welcome. Yay.
Hello.
Everybody's waving. Personal story, I used to watch North of 60 clearly when I was growing up. And you know when you start to watch a series and you start to connect with the characters and you feel like you know them, right? Like as if you were friends with them. And I definitely felt that for you. And I knew, I'm like, I have to meet this guy at some point because you know that he's good, right? Everybody knows that you just could feel that you were awesome. And finally, this Christmas or past Christmas, I got to see one of your concerts in, real life, live time, finally. And you were beyond expectation. I don't know. I have no words to describe it. But I was telling Mark Andre earlier that, Tom hugs you like you're one of his kids. And not many people do that. So we thank you so much for being here. We're so honored and so grateful. Thanks, Mr. Jackson.
Thank you so much for your very kind words. It flows deeply into my soul when you say those things to me.
Awesome.
And I wished that I could be there with you, but I'm really glad that you can be here with me.
Yeah.
You're in my room, and this space it's got medicine in it, and it's a good medicine.
Yes,
so,
sir.
Welcome to my lodge. I don't think that you think that I know you, but I do. I know people just like you, young people just like you, that saved my life. It's very important for you to know that. It's very important for you to know that the most significant words that I could say to you, I'll say them right now. You have to know that I love you. I love you. Let me tell you why. Because we have, I guess, gone through a period of time where the future looks uncertain.
Yeah.
But it's different now.
Yeah.
What we know now is that I can look into your eyes and see a brilliant future. You are the future. You are our future. There's no more thinking about how much weight there is on our shoulders. It's time for us to just lift that weight and let it go. We need to be able to find a way to be ourselves again. We need to be able to look others in the eye and let them know that we care about them.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways, that's what we're here to do today. So just so you know, I could ask you how you're doing, And I'm just going to tell you how I'm doing. If that's okay with you, I'm doing awesome. I want you to know. I wish everybody could be like me.
Oh, I love that. Thank you so much. Thank you again for being here. This is once in a lifetime opportunity. Thank you. Well, our first question today, we're going to head all the way over to Surrey, BC, to Cloverdale Catholic School. So number 1, Cloverdale, welcome.
Hey, Cloverdale.
Good morning, Mr. Jackson. My name is Paige. I'm a grade 7 student, a part of the Student Council at Cloverdale Catholic School in Surrey, British Columbia. My question for you is, Mr. Jackson, you are known as a triple threat. What were you most passionate about growing up? Music, acting, or activism? Can you give us a short timeline of when and how you got into each of these?
Well, let me tell you, probably music, although all 3 of those things were very prominent in my life. And in a lot of ways, they were cornerstones of this fortress called love. And I'll use that word a lot today, but you must know that it's such a big part of my world. But music came into my life when I was living on the street. And I was frequenting a drop-in center called the Indian and Métis Friendship Center. And there was a gentleman there. His name was Graham Jones. Bless his soul, he's gone now. He's gone to the spirit world, but he pulled me aside one time. He put his hand on the back of my neck and he said, "So Tom, why don't you do something else with your life?" And I said, "Like what?" No, I didn't say it like that. Like what? and he said, "Well, I don't know. What would you like?" And because he was a musician, I said, "Would you show me how to play guitar?" And he agreed to do so. And okay, I only learned 3 tunes for 5 years, but I knew 3 songs. It's great. So every once in a while I'd play them. But it changed my life because he invited me at one point in time to come and play a concert with him, so to play my 3 songs. And what I found out was that it's one of the lyrics in the song was, "Homeward bound, I wish I was." So you see how that was thing. That's what changed my life. I noticed that people looked at me differently all of a sudden. And I went on from that to do radio, like years later. And I realized that radio had no color. They can't see you on radio. So you can tell stories, and what they see is what they hear, right? And it becomes in their mind's eye. And that made a big difference to me, realizing that you could actually make change by speaking to people and telling them stories. Now, acting, I kind of fell into. And it was because I got offered an opportunity to sit on a rock in the middle of Falcon Lake and tell stories about Manabush for a television show called Sesame Street. So that was another point. But the activist piece was very significant for me. I have a brother, his name is Bernie. And Bernie and I were just hanging around, and someplace along the way, we thought, maybe we'll go out and get a job. Well, what are we going to do? We had no education. I dropped out of school. So relative to education, I was out there trying to find stuff on my own. And this was in Winnipeg. And he said, I heard there was a couple of jobs available at this place called the Institute of Urban Studies at the University of Winnipeg. Now, I'd slept on a lawn in front of the University of Winnipeg, and I looked at that building and I went, what a wonderful place that must be. A place of learning, a place that was safe. And I just imagined someday that I might be in that building. I don't know under what pretext, but there it was. All of a sudden, there was this guy, his name was Lloyd Axworthy, and he's a member of parliament now. Or not member of parliament, but he's a foreign affairs guy. But at the time, he was the head of this Institute of Urban Studies, which was people who wanted to find out about people who lived in the core area of Winnipeg. So nobody really wanted the job. Bernie and I went. We said, well, we'll take that job. What is it? Well, you got to go door to door and you got to talk to people and ask them why they're there. And in the parts of Winnipeg that were poverty stricken. Okay, great. So we went out, and I would say it might even have been the first day. And we knocked on a door, and a woman came to the door, and we said, well, we're such and such, and just have to ask you a couple of questions. But the main question is, how and why did you get here? And why are you still here? Why do you stay here? And she told us that there were 15 people living in this house. It was 3 bedrooms, 15 people, and children, and little ones. And I said, well, why do you stay here? And she gave me a really profound reason. She said, well, we're here in these circumstances because we're afraid to tell anybody because they might take away our children, because they might think this is unsafe. Well, that bit of information to me changed how I looked at the world. I went, you mean we live in a society where people are scared to take care of their children, or some profound thought of such? So it changed my life and changed Bernie's life. And we went, okay, we got to rethink this. We got to change this, or get out there and do something. And it started us on a path that made us decide we wanted to figure out how to help others. And as soon as we made that decision, that we figured out that we could help others and that would help us, it was a very, very, it was one of, again, I say it was the cornerstone of this fortress. It made us believe that there was more worth in others than there was in ourselves. Now, that's not a downplay, but it's people that we wanted to help, and we could. We decided we could help. But we had to get active to do that. So I became an activist.
That's amazing.
Thank you.
Hey, thank you. Never mind for asking.
Thank you. We're heading over to Vancouver to Blessed Sacrament School. Welcome, Blessed Sacrament.
Thank you.
In your opinion, where is Canada when it comes to truth and reconciliation? Are we doing enough? And if not, what needs to be done to move forward? Do you feel Canadians know enough of the truth, or are we still at the stage where the truth needs to be better understood?
Truth and reconciliation is really quite obvious when you think about the question, right? What is truth? Okay, well, we know what truth is for ourselves. In a lot of ways, we know what happened. So the question becomes, what's going to happen now? That's what happened. What's going to happen now? Are we going to do something positive? Are we going to wait for somebody else to do something positive? Well, for me, I don't think that people really, really know what reconciliation is. They're still trying to figure that out. So when somebody's trying to figure something out, when you think you know the answer, shouldn't you share it with them? Okay, so here's the example. I'm going to myself and to my friends, I'm going, okay, I do understand what reconciliation is. They don't. Okay, so let's show them. Let's go and do something for somebody. It's kind of the same theme in my previous comment. Let's go and show people what reconciliation is. Let's go be kind to people. It's interesting. The other day, Allison, my darling wife, she wanted to watch a show on Netflix, and it was called Elephant Whisperers. And I went, please, really? But I watched it. And this really interesting thing happened. It was a show that told us that elephants really just lumber along, kind of like Tom. He just lumbers along. And he eats and he sleeps. But not much else. Unless there's an interaction with a human. If that human is kind to that elephant all of a sudden becomes kind. All of a sudden starts to display things that interact with human beings, that evoke emotions that make them better understand one another. And don't you know, the child of that elephant that was being followed, the baby elephant, started to do the same things. Started to walk up to people in this series and touch them. And the elephant, when they do that, we would touch the elephant. And it brought to mind this. Can we teach kindness? I'm not sure. Kind. That's a different question. We don't have to teach kindness. We only have to be kind. And others will see it, just like me. And if others see it, they'll like it. So let's say that you decide you want to be kind to somebody and you're going to show it. Okay, what if your family sees it? What if they like it? What if they decide to be kind to somebody else? What if the community sees your family and they like it? What if the nation sees your community and they like it? What if? We don't know the value of the gift, but I do know this, that it's priceless. It's hard to define. And it's priceless, but it loses its worth if we don't share it. It's like knowledge. Knowledge is priceless, but it loses its worth if we don't share it.
Wonderful. Thank you. Now we're going to head over to Oshawa, Ontario, to David Bouchard Public School. Welcome, David Bouchard.
All right. I'm Mr. Jackson. My name is Dominic. I am a student in grade 8 at David Bouchard Public School. My question is, you seem to approach all your projects through the lens of creating health-inspiring information and supporting. We have heard that you often say, let's make love a verb. What does that mean, and why is it so important?
That's a great question. I was fortunate enough to be in front of a First Nation dancer, a young lady. She was a jingle dancer. And I asked her why she dances. And she said, I dance because it makes me sweat. Oh, okay, why is that? She said, well, when I sweat, there's this place right next to my heart here that has been occupied by a toxic trickster. And when I sweat, that trickster gets extricated. It's removed. And all of a sudden I realized that I don't have to forget, but that I can forgive. And it makes me feel good. So I went, that's good medicine. That's really good medicine. What else can I do to make myself feel better other than go to something I have to swallow? You know, there's a lot of people out there doing things that they swallow to make themselves feel better. Maybe it's the medicine cabinet. But okay, let's talk about a non-medical prescription. And it'll get to the point that you ask about love. So I can't dance, but I can leap. And I suppose leaping till you sweat's probably a little silly, but I could leap. Okay, so I'm going to leap. This is a social prescription. It's going to make me feel good. I'm going to maybe find a book that teaches me something that's good for my soul. I want to learn something. Probably the last time you laughed 200 times in a day, you were probably 2 years old. The funny bone has got rusty. We don't laugh as much anymore. But the most powerful medicine that the Creator gave us was laughter. We need to make people laugh. We need to laugh ourselves. So leap, learn, laugh. And what do you think the last one is? That's right. Love. Not the word, but the verb. You see, we don't know the value of the gift. If you help somebody and they pay it forward and help somebody else, and they pay it forward and help somebody else. Let's say it's somebody on the street, and they pay it forward, help somebody. And what if the person that they pay it forward to is your brother, or your sister, or your mother, or your father? What if? You see, we don't know the value of the gift. Love is not just a word. It's a verb. Christmas is a verb. I said this last, and you would have heard that. Christmas is a verb, right? Just to better explain, if you know how it feels at Christmas time, that's a verb.
Yeah.
So that's the answer to the question, long-winded as it is.
Thank you so much. Have a good day.
Thank you. We're going to head over now to Lumsden, Saskatchewan at Ecole Lumsden Elementary School. Welcome.
Mr. Jackson, an area that is near and dear to our hearts is ensuring that everyone has access to clean water and sanitation. Do you believe that there has been any developments in this area within our country? What do you feel the next steps are to seeing everyone have access to clean water and sanitation?
Water is the life's blood of Mother Earth. It's the life's blood of Mother Earth. And we in this country are a water superpower. We have more clean water, potable water, than any place else on the planet. Arguably, there might be a couple of others. But where there is no clean water, then it is imperative of us to have people better understand that water matters. Yeah. So let's create a program that says water matters. Okay? So when you wonder about something that might seem just outside your reach, maybe that's what you're doing here. You need to talk to somebody who knows somebody. Like, I don't necessarily know a lot about water, but I know somebody who does know a lot about water, or I know somebody who knows somebody, if you get my right. Clean water in our world should be and could be available to everybody. But it's not really a water problem. It's a money problem. It takes political will to change the situation that we're in now. It needs political will. That's the only place that there is enough money to actually solve this problem. There are technologies that, in fact, can create potable water. It's a little more complex than just as I'm representing it to be. But the only solution, no pun intended, get it, water solution. The only solution is political will. So let me ask you this. If, in fact, you talked to, if you're brave enough, if you want to, and we have to be brave to do these things, but go to the person that represents you in government and say, okay, if you're not willing to save my brother, my sister, my mother, my father, I'm not going to vote for you. That's simple, right? It's not a lot of work. If you are not willing to save the life of my mother, father, brother, sister, then I'm not going to vote for you.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell all my friends. And if they don't vote for you, you won't have a job. That person has to go to his boss or her boss and say, wait a minute, there is a problem here. We need to talk about water matters. And then it'll work its way all the way up the chain, because we mentioned political will. It'll work its way, trust me, it'll work its way all the way up the chain if the person you're sitting in front of is willing to say, yes, we will help you.
Yeah.
And they get inspired to be a verb.
Yeah.
And it'll work its way all the way up the chain, and you'll get to the Prime Minister's office. Believe me, if all of the young people in our world said water matters, the government's going to hear. And what's going to happen then? Well, that's political will. And what's that? Well, that's providing enough money for us to use.
Good afternoon, pardon the interruption. There will be no.
Nicole and Tom. I'm Mark. Hi. What if we reschedule for a part 2 of this interview, because we already used up the half hour that you were able to give to us today, and we're only halfway? How do you feel about this? Nicole, what do you think? Tom, what do you think?
How did we start this?
Because we started at 11.
There was a rhetorical question. We started this by me saying to you that I love you. Do you think I want to stop this conversation? I do not want to stop this conversation. But we have to stop it today because I have a few other things I have to, I have to go somewhere. Jackson.
So you will commit to, we will have a part 2 of this interview, Mr. Jackson.
I think that'd be awesome. I'd love to do that.
Wonderful.
Thank you so much. Can 1 minute, can I have a couple of the kids come here with their hearts? They just, remember the hearts, Sophia, just come here, come right now. Just to say
Thank you for your
goodbye.
words of love during Valentine's Day too. We appreciate that. That's perfect.
I know. They have Valentine's Day on the show. And then we give an appointment for all the schools who are here today. We will invite you to come for part 2. Is that okay?
That's very fine. Beware that we have to make, we have to be relentless, not reckless. So
Okay.
you have to put some urgency to this. And let me tell you why. With my world, wonderfully, I serve many masters. So the gaps that we found here are, they're few and far between, but they are there. So let me ask you this, to do me this great favor and get this back into the mix of communication into my world, so that we can exercise this urgency and have this conversation sooner than later.
Well, we promise, Mr. Jackson.
Hey, look at you.
Okay. Who wants to read?
Me.
Ava.
You are my brother.
Somebody else.
I know this one. Sometimes the cards we are dealt are not always fair. However, you must keep smiling and move on. Tom Jackson, you are my brother and she is my sister.
Bea.
You are my brother. I love you. You inspire me.
Adriana.
You are my brother and
Lawrence.
you are my brother and inspire me to do that. Happy Valentine's Day.
Emma, speak up. Thank you for what you are doing for our country. Sophie.
Canada is not Canada without you, Tom Jackson.
Certainly.
Canada is not Canada without you, Tom Jackson. You are my brother and I am your sister. Thank you for everything you're doing for our country. Thank you, Tom, for everything that you've done for our country.
Okay, so thank you. Happy Valentine's Day.
Au revoir, merci. On t'aime. Je t'aime. My
Thank you.
princess. I love you in French.
Ask one favor before we go. I want to ask you a favor before we all leave. Would you like to change the world today? Say aye. Yeah? Say aye.
Aye.
This is what we're going to do today. As soon as we break off this call, I want you to take your phone out. Take out your phone and call somebody and tell them that you love them and ask them to do the same. And I promise you, in 5 minutes from now, the world will change. Okay, I gotta go.
Bye. Thank you so much.
We'll talk to you soon. Okay.